Hi, this is Swapnil Bhartiya and welcome to Let's Talk. Today we have with us Brad Murdoch. Brad, it's great to have you on the show.
It's a pleasure to be here. I love watching all the videos from TFIR, and it's a real honor to be part of it.
It's an honor to have you here on the show. We have already talked to Lightbend a couple of times, but just to refresh the memories of our viewers, quickly tell us what is Lightbend all about?
So Lightbend is the company behind a number of very popular open source projects. The most significant one is Akka, and Akka is used by many developers in building large-scale, high-performance distributed systems. So we today think about things in terms of cloud native. That's really what Akka enables, is the back-end services for building cloud native applications. So Lightbend as a company, what we do is we make the experience of producing the systems that you can run your business on based on Akka and our other open source technologies very easy. And so that's we have great experience working with a lot of our customers building some of the really most innovative systems in the world.
Open source is plays a very critical role at Lightbend. Talk about the importance of open source, because when we do look at platform like Akka or a cloud in general, what happening is that it further democratizes open source technology, because open source kind of solves day one problem where you can get the product, you can install it, you can get it up and running, but managing it, maintaining it, scaling it, adding features to it, supporting it, that becomes challenge. So let's talk about how is Lightbend kind of playing a critical role in making these open source projects more usable by users who, number one, may not want to dedicate, or they may not have dedicated their developer resources to these kind of projects. Second is that there's a lot of plumbing which gets involved. Companies should focus on things that add value to their business. Not everybody should be doing that plumbing. So talk about the importance of open source for Lightbend, and then how is Lightbend helping the adoption of open source through these platforms?
Yeah, great. So great point. So Lightbend has always been founded on open source. Our founders were the creator of Akka and also the creator of the Scala programming language. And so we've been invested in open source for the entire period that the company has been in existence. And we've seen a maturing of the understanding in the enterprise space of the use of open source, that today there's realistically no credible way that anyone would introduce proprietary software for doing infrastructure software. You just have got really no chance of having that adoption because of the innovation that happens around open source. And so we have a great community of developers and architects that contribute to the open source, but more importantly, kind of give us direction in terms of where they would really like to see it go, given the challenges that they're facing and how the open source software can form a base. But Lightbend as a company, as you correctly point out, we are in the business of making that open source easier to consume, easier to deploy, easier to manage, and reduce the time that it takes for an enterprise to be able to see the value from leveraging all of that innovation that's going into the open source. And so this is really where we come in. We add additional software that provides things like telemetry and management and integration and some of the hardening that you would expect for an enterprise, but also critical services like 24/7 support. If you're going to run your business on something founded on open source, do you have the ability to have your own development teams be able to provide that level of sophisticated support? Well, that's challenging, and so that's certainly part of what we bring. So the expertise related to what other organizations are doing, and also a long history of making sure that those organizations can be successful at scale in production.
Right. Lightbend is, as you rightly mentioned, involved with a lot of open source projects. Akka is one. Can you let's just go a bit deeper into the weeds and explain what does Akka Cloud platform do?
So Akka as an open source project is it's very popular. We see tens of millions of downloads of the open source literally every month. So developers are using Akka, and the increase in popularity over the last 2 years in particular, as more and more developers start building cloud native systems, has been significant. Now, when we start working with our customers, we see that actually in excess of 75% of our customers are actually deploying those Akka-based systems in the cloud, either private cloud, but mostly in the public cloud. And so, what Akka Cloud Platform as an offering is, it's a way to make it easier for developers and operators to be able to take Akka and build, deploy, and run Akka-based services in the cloud. So we've released on AWS Marketplace, and recently we've just announced that we've also released on Google Cloud Platform, with other marketplaces to follow.
Right. Let's talk about the availability of Akka Cloud Platform on Google Cloud Marketplace. What value does it bring to, of course, Akka users and customers, and of course, Google Cloud users?
So, we have a really strong partnership with Google. We've seen a number of our big customers choose Google Cloud as their environment for deploying their systems. And as I mentioned, typically Akka-based systems are usually large-scale, high-performance, business-critical systems. They're not typically used for departmental. And so Google is, definitely a major player in the space where it comes to thinking about that class of system. So we've got a really strong partnership with Google. So what we found is that a lot of people that we were working with were using Google Cloud as the environment for building and deploying their Akka-based services. And so we are really focused on making that whole experience easier. And also what we've done, in addition to making it easier to deploy and build services on the Google Cloud using Akka, we've invested in opening up some of the other things that Lightbend as a company brings. So, for example, the commercial software that complements Akka to do telemetry and observability and so on, and also the ability to be able to integrate with other services that are running on Google Cloud that may be relevant. For example, many Akka use cases, we see people combining those technologies with things like Kafka and Cassandra. And so we can integrate with things like the Google Pub Sub or Confluent Cloud, DataStax Astra, and so on. So we're just making it much easier to develop and deploy in the Google Cloud environment. The big thing that we are seeing in terms of the interest in moving to not just Google Cloud, but any of the kind of cloud environments is that I think everyone has accepted that the move to the cloud is almost inevitable for very good business reasons. But unless you actually kind of complement that move to the infrastructure with an equivalent move to cloud native application architecture, you're really not getting the full benefits of that move to the cloud. And so we are very excited about our partnership with Google. And also, with AWS, in terms of being able to really kind of open that up more, so that more and more organizations that are looking at digital transformation or other ways that they're going to be able to leverage their data in close to real time have got a real platform that they can build on in the cloud that will actually give them that kind of super high performance, super scalable, super resilient applications to complement that equivalent that they get from the cloud infrastructure. And so this is why we see a really big increase in the activity levels, not just in the open source, but in the adoption of those cloud services.
Brad, thank you so much for taking time out today and not only refresh our memories about what Lightbend does, but also Akka's availability on Google Cloud Marketplace. I love talking to you today, and I'll look forward to talk to you again. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. Love the opportunity and look forward to the next time.